Mediawatch means, of course, James Creedon is here and ready to go. We're starting with a diplomatic spat between the Netherlands and Russia. What's happened, James?
That's right. Well, a Dutch diplomat was beaten in a savage attack in Moscow. That's the headline in the Daily Telegraph. This just a week after a Russian diplomat was arrested in his home, breaching diplomatic immunity conventions in The Hague. So there's this sort of diplomatic back and forth, and all of this against the backdrop of the Russian-owned Greenpeace boat that was stopped by Russian authorities. 30 Greenpeace activists still in Russian custody since the 19th of September. So that has been growing and growing, basically, tensions between the two. All of this, Mark, in the midst of the Netherlands-Russia year. Now, this is a cultural event in Russia and the Netherlands, well, I think in particular in the Netherlands, where they're marking their friendship and amitié and all that kind of stuff. And the next thing you know, the Kremlin is threatening to cancel importations of tulips and cheese in economic, what would you say, tit for tat.
Economic revenge, I suppose.
That's right. And what does this remind you of? Does this remind you of the Florence Cassé thing? Because that's what struck me. It was the year of Mexico and France when that whole thing happened. Florence Cassé, of course, in prison, given a 60-year sentence in Mexico for being accused of being involved in a kidnapping gang. Sarkozy made it one of his big policies, I suppose, or to have her freed. And indeed she was, but after he left power. And he dedicated France's Year of Mexico, a big cultural event, to Florence Cassé, sparking a massive diplomatic row.
Okay, it's things not going well then between the Dutch and the Russians.
No.
Okay, let's move to another very sore subject here in France, especially. It's the deportation of a schoolgirl, just 15 years old. She's a Roma gypsy.
That's right.
From Kosovo. Family came here, 5 years ago to shelter from the conflict there.
That's right.
And this has caused a massive outcry here in France.
That's right, because it was on a school outing that she was basically taken by the authorities and whisked off, and a lot of people found that in very, very bad taste.
So the police turned up at the school and took her in front of her school friends, basically.
Essentially, even though strictly speaking, it's not against the law, but obviously it's in a lot of people very annoyed
practice,
about.
Isn't it?
That's right. So Manuel Valls has once again been highly criticised in the media for this, and indeed in his own political family. Manuel Valls being the Interior Minister, so in charge of matters of immigration, and a lot of people say he's sort of Sarkozy II, and that's a little blend there of the two men in question. Not very flattering, I would say, to either man. And it's had left-wing politicians all over the place really, really angry. A shame is now, says Jean-Luc Mélenchon, the far-left presidential candidate in 2012, and that's a spin on the slogan "Change is now" from François Hollande. Let's give Valls back to the far right, back to Le Pen. In other words, these are sort of far right policies. So a lot of people sort of annoyed about that, and including actually the Socialist Party Speaker of the Lower House of Parliament, Claude Barthelon, who said, you know what, it might be the law, but it's not part of the Socialist Party's values, and we maybe even need to change the law if this is the sort of thing that's happening. So
that picture of Valls and Sarkozy together was very funny. That's I'm just put out what I was laughing at. Right. But the situation facing that poor schoolgirl.
Absolutely.
What a dreadful thing to happen to you. You know, the police come, swoop, and take you away in front of your mates. What a dreadful thing to happen.
It's not the
nicest
dreadful
way of going about it, you know. Dreadful.
Not the best way of doing it, I would say.
Should we go with your next story? And
That's right.
Possibly your last time rushing on now. The British, it appears, are more into frogs' legs than the French. Can this be true?
I think it's a load of guff, to be honest, but it's a funny headline, and basically what happened is they were doing an archaeological dig around Stonehenge, and what did they find? Only a cooked frog's leg that dates back to something like 7,000, even 7,000 BC. In other words, they were chowing down on cooked frog's legs about 8,000 years.
It was a frog's leg dating back that kind of time,
I
that
don't
period.
know, but I presume these archaeologists are
amazing,
just great
isn't it?
at determining that kind of thing. Well, I leave you with a Merkel in Hipster. This is a blog, Mark, that's been getting very popular in the last while. Basically, a photo of Merkel from 2004. People decided that she looked like a bit of a hipster in it, so they've been basically making her look even more hipsterish, and even added a beard to one, which I think is a bit unfair to Angela.
That's mean.
But it's the German media is talking about, the French media is talking about it. It's what is it? Hipstermerkel.tumblr.com.
She is one of the real characters, personalities of our time on every level.
She's becoming an iconic
on every level.
Individual.
Along with your good self. James Creedon with Mediawatch, as ever. Thank you very much indeed, James Creedon. Thanks again, James. Good to see you. We are taking a short break now here live from Paris. After that, we return, of course, with another World News Update and our Eye on Africa. Stay with us.